Cassell told the bear that he wanted to see him so badly, so why wouldn't he let him? He turned to his mom. He realized no matter how worried he is, he can't go in to see her. This is very suspicious. Could it be that his mom is upset about his dad coming back? Cassell stated that was a terrible thought. He ran calling for his mom. Margot greeted the young gentleman and asked what a beautiful night it was, wasn't it? Cassell recognized her. Margot asked him not to be so rude. He doesn't understand what she's doing here since no one called her. She's here to make sure he goes to bed on time, and then she wondered if something was wrong. There's nothing wrong with him, and he's an adult. He doesn't need to be looked after. Margot clarified that he wasn't angry because she was here to check on him. She wasn't his mistress. The boy's gripes that this was untrue and an absolute lie. Margot remarked that he was so cute when he was embarrassed. Do you want the young master to tell him a secret? It's something she can only tell him. Mistress is preparing a delightful gift for him, and that's why she said not to go to her. Cassell is very curious about what that gift is. Margot pointed out that I had told her not to tell anyone, but the boy was very interesting, so she would tell him. It turned out that she was going to give him a little brother or sister. She asked if he was ready to feel like a big brother or sister. Cassell asked if it was true that he would have a little brother or sister. He remembered that he had promised Daddy. Margot had told him that if he didn't sleep with Mommy and Daddy, he might have a baby brother. He didn't understand why he couldn't see his mom. Margot said it was just a very special bird that brought the baby. When a couple in love get along well, this bird comes to them, but they can't get the baby so easily. So his parents need to make it appear more often, but the bird is very sensitive, so it can come only at a special time at night and stays only until morning. Margot mentally apologized to him that she had to lie to him. But if that bird flew away, they couldn't take the baby, so they asked him not to come. Cassell said that's what he realized. He told Daddy himself that he wanted a baby brother, and now he knows it's not because Mommy doesn't love him again so he can wait. Margot noted that they would meet soon anyway, but would have to be patient a little longer and tonight. She was afraid he would get angry. Cassell stated that no, it was fine and he would be the big brother. Margot stated that was fine and now it was time for bed. She asked for Mistress, but she swore to herself that she would follow the young master tonight because of her. Sheriel noted that everything and her body ached and thought she'd had enough for the day. Keon happened to be nearby calling his wife's name. The girl was frightened and asked him not to be so quiet. He stated that she was the one in the clouds. He came in because he was afraid she wasn't feeling well. The girl replied that a couple days of rest and she would be fine. And how is he not busy? Keon claimed that nothing was more important than her, but he hadn't actually asked her something that day. Sheriel stated that she was willing to answer anything she wanted to know what the question was. He wondered what the Count said even then. Sheriel replied that if she didn't give him the money he was asking for, he would tell him that he wasn't really a blood noblewoman. So knew everything, and she had already told him that Sienna was her mother. She remembered admitting to him that Sienna wasn't really her nanny, but she was her real mom. He couldn't believe he'd dare threaten her like that. Had she really been holding back all this time because of that? Sheriel replied that she had no choice, and besides this game, he was talking about getting rid of her mother's grave. Keon clarified when it had started if he had known sooner. The girl claimed it wasn't his fault. He started threatening her with her grave from the very moment she first refused to marry him. She had been trying to get rid of his influence for a long time. The Count said he buried her mana somewhere nearby. She believed him even though it was the horse that did what he asked in case it was true after all, because she didn't want her mom to get worse again even after she died. Before he married her to him, the Count used to punish her all the time. Mostly he starved her, but sometimes he let her beat him. Sheriel noted that you must have been just as hard on him. And it was after that that she began to blame herself for everything that had happened. She hated him for coming back for her so late when it was impossible to change anything. All this time, all she had felt was hatred. Keon said it was okay and he understood. She would apologize. She acted out because she was a traumatized child. But now she hoped she could make it up to him in Cassell. The guy said he didn't need to because they already loved her. He turned to the girl and said he wanted to tell her something. She smilingly asked if he loved her. Keon replied that he said he did all the time, but now it was about something else. It was about her mother Sienna, finding out where her secret was buried. The girl was stunned by what he said. She didn't understand why he would visit her mother's grave. Keon started that because he regretted the past. Even if she wasn't someone close to him, he could still protect her. But he couldn't. Sheriel noted that she was still young. Her mom was a common servant. She didn't think she'd be buried. But she couldn't believe her father when he told her I was buried near the Earl's estate. But it's really true. Keon asked the girl if she wanted to go to her place with him for her anniversary. Sheriel stated that of course she wanted to, but why hadn't he told her? Because he thought it might seem manipulative and was looking out for the grave himself. Sheriel hugged him and thanked him. It was the only thing he could do and asked not to be converted. All is well even that. She was starting to feel like she could still call back her mother's daughter. Sheriel asked him why he was so kind to her, but definitely deserves that kind of love. A grim life full of cruelty, and she became the only ray of light, and flooded the darkness with her bright smile and promises to stay with him no matter what you become. All thanks to Sheriel. The Count claimed it wasn't how he raised her. If threats about her mother's grave don't work now, I'll have to try another way. That's the trouble. Someone came into the room, and he asked if that person had never been taught to knock. A side branch of the Owen family showed up. A young boy stated that it had been a long time since they had seen his uncle. The Earl asked what he wanted, if he was going to beg him again to give the title of Earl to him. He could be free. The lad laughed and willed that he had just heard the startling news. The Count said that he was at it again. Who let this boar in the first place? Let them take him away from his estate. Similar services don't understand who they serve. The boy said he really didn't understand. He said not to be so greedy and give the title away nicely. He's surprised that it was cleaning time and asked the guard to follow the plan. The Count was outraged at what they were doing. How dare they? Does this guy really think he has the right to do that? The guy said of course he's using him right now. Duke Loperman was kind enough to give them funds to rebuild the house. Isn't he the one who made him blind? This may be their last meeting. The cause of death will be an accident, and his pathetic body will be abandoned in the woods to be led by wild animals. Let him be glad he's helping someone. Count live that they'll pay for it, the ungrateful bastards. The man was told to throw it somewhere out of the way. It hung him alive and makes him tired even dead. Damn Count, even after death he will not rest in peace. The clock went again, and it was time to take what was rightfully hers. The Winter Witch has declared it so. It's been a couple of days. Margot, check with the lady to see if she's feeling well. She said something to the effect that yes, she's fine. The potion Keon brought is working wonders. The maid is so glad she's recovering quickly. And then she remembers something. While she was resting, she received a letter apologizing for the delay. The letter was from Viscountess Fornell, if she would like to read it. Chernelle hoped she was well. She has already started planning a tea party for when she is fully recovered. Mistress told the maid that she had urgent business to attend to. A charming and sweet little girl arrives at the mansion, a little girl with pink hair and shiny golden eyes like their Cassel. So cute. It's a child comparable to a boy. We need to invite her as early as possible, and we need to get everything ready quickly. They'll prepare everything from the food to the gifts, and she can rely on them. Miss Fornell says I'm so much better that she can already go out for walks. Sheriel's very happy about that. Why does she keep referring to her as a fairy, by the way? Bull as a fairy is funny, and once upon a time and she dreamed of miracles. She prayed to be with her mother, but her prayers were not answered. The reason I liked Kyrenia so much was because it reminded her of her childhood. Fairies don't exist, but there are people who have experienced the same pain and don't want others to go through it. Sheriel has reached out to her mom. She hopes that on the anniversary of her death, she will see that she is doing well. She just has to wait. She will bring her husband and the son she loves more than anyone in the world. Cassel asked her mom what they were getting ready for this morning. 2 very important guests are coming today. After all, this will be the first time he meets the girl who will be his future wife. We can't wait to see how cute they'll look together. Will Cassel fall in love with Leah? They're still so young and don't know each other that well. Both Leah and Cassel in their first life were Waco miserable, but now things will be different. A lot will change. Lady Fornell will be arriving soon, and with a sweet little girl his age. Couldn't he be nicer to her? Cassel noted that the girls were too annoying, but he thought he could promise to be polite to her. Sheriel thanked him and she asked him if he would make it up to her. Cassell stated that of course he would, because he had always kept his word. The mistress said that she knows, because she has such a good boy. But this time, if everything goes well, she will make him his favorite pecan pie. So what does he think? Cassell replied that, well, he would definitely keep his promise. It seems that the carriage had already arrived. She thought they should get out to greet them. Margot noted that they were already out, and as she could see, not a cloud in the sky. Sheriel was worried that the bad weather might affect Fornell's condition, but she was glad that everything would be okay. Margot was amazed that this little lady is an angel. She's just adorable. Looks like they're dressed up for a visit to the Duke's mansion. She's such a cute little pie. Leah greeted Miss Fairy. Margot noticed that the little angel called her a fairy. The other employees, of course, knew that Madame was as beautiful as a fairy, but still. Leah noted that it had been a long time since they had seen each other, and she apologized for not visiting her for so long. Sheriel replied that she had called her a fairy in front of so many people. Well, what can she do? Her childlike innocence is so embarrassing. Sheriel apologized to the girl, but could she try not to call her a fairy? Leah apologized she didn't want to reveal her identity, but now she would take away the good fortune she had been given. Mistress didn't know what to do with such a simple-minded and adorable child. Whatever you are, it's not something she can take away. Sheriel wanted to answer, but Cassell appeared and told the girl to get away from her mom. He noticed that she was a fairy and his mom, so let her get in trouble. Sheriel thought about her hopes. It seemed to have started out wrong somehow. Mrs. Fornell asked her daughter to remember that she is the Duchess's ping and let her pass courtesy. If she doesn't, the young Duke will be angry with her. Sheriel noted that the mistress looked much better now. It had been a long time, and it was all thanks to the Duchess. Lady Fornell told her daughter that before she said anything, she had to make sure she greeted everyone properly. Leah apologized, and she was so excited she didn't realize her mistakes. She thanked for the invitation. I was so excited to be here. Sheriel replied that it's okay. She doesn't have to worry. She won't take her luck away, and the only thing she will ask is to have a good time tonight. Will she be able to fulfill that request? Leah called her Duchess Loperman and replied that she would do as she said. She also apologized to the young Duke. She doesn't like her mom to be rude either, and she treasures her very much. She had been rude earlier. Sheriel was worried if they were okay. Her son was a bit too susceptible. As long as she's already apologized, it's okay. He apologizes too, because his mother told him to be nice to him, but I think he scared her. Leah asked if he accepted her apology. The boy agreed, and the girl suddenly shook his hand. He didn't realize what she was doing. She was glad that he had become her second friend of the same age as her. She encouraged him to have fun tonight. Cassell agreed, but asked him to let go of his hand. The girl was fine with it, however. She was so soft and warm. Couldn't he support her a little more? Sheriel noted that he is no longer uncomfortable, and she reminds her and Keon when they were little. The Duchess asked her son to show this girl their estate. He agreed, but filled that she must keep her promise. Cassell asked the girl for her name. She introduced herself as Kyrenia Fornell and clarified his name. He's Carticel Loperman. She asked if he should be called by his full legal name. The boy said he didn't care. Sheriel pointed out that her son doesn't let many people call you by your first name, and she thinks he likes the girl. Tilla hopes we have fun together. She apologized to the Duchess, and to be honest, she was going to ask her a lot of things today. She thinks they need a place to have a casual conversation. Do they have anything suitable? This is the hour. She must have been wondering about this for quite some time. She needs to pretend she doesn't know anything and continue the conversation. Sheriel suggested she go into the living room where it would be just the two of them. Margot said she would leave them alone and asked her to call her if they needed anything. Tilla noted that it was the same tea she had given her last time. Before she asked her anything, she wanted to say that she had come here mainly because she wanted to thank her personally. Sheriel replied that she had reasons why she should thank her in this way. Lady Fornell stated that the Duchess was the fairy heroine. Sheriel asked her to stop already. Let her pretend she doesn't know about what she told Leia. Tilla apologized. She was just kidding. I wanted to show my appreciation. Until recently, she lived a very troubled life because she thought she didn't have much time left. I really wanted to see her daughter grow up, but as time went on, Her illness got worse. During her past life, no one could cure her, and that was the beginning of the Fornell family's downfall. Cheryl checked in to see how she was feeling. Thanks to the flowers she sent, she can even take small trips like this with her daughter. Leia's smile alone makes her eyes water. She is very grateful to the Duchess. Cheryl states that there is no need to thank her. Tilla and she is just a mother who is worried about her child, so she can't help but empathize with her, and she is sure that any of you have done the same for her. However, Lady Fornell has a delicate question for her: how she knew how to cure her illness. Cassell had stated to Leah that he would find a way to cure her no matter what it cost him. The girl then asked him to stop. He told her that she was his only ray of light, and he couldn't lose her, even if it was just a manifestation of his selfishness. Leah had the same disease as her mom. Cassell searched the entire continent looking for a way to save her beloved, and did find a cure, but she can't tell her that she knows because she saw the future. Cheryl replied that she had noticed that her body didn't look weak by nature, so she thought it must be a manifestation of some disease. She didn't know what she could do about it, but she wanted to help her. Moonflowers remove various causes of ailments from the body, and even when they are in the tea she gave her. At a time when everyone was prophesying death, she suddenly appeared out of nowhere and sent her these flowers. It's like a miracle. Lady Fornell, now that she has a future thanks to her, she wonders what kind of life she will have. Cheryl asked if she didn't already know. She will be happy as before to spend her days with her daughter, eating delicious food and giving her all her love, living surrounded by those she loves and who love her. She feels that she will forever be indebted to her and has no idea how she can repay such a huge favor. Cheryl says she should just live happily ever after, and that is what will be her greatest reward. She stated that she would ask Margot to bring some water, and also wondered if their children were getting along well. Leah stated that the garden of the ducal estate is so big, and which part of it the young duke likes the most. Cassell clarified that if he asked her to stop bothering him, she would stop. The girl tearfully asked if she was bothering him. He said no, let her just follow him. Cassell asked her to sit here. This is his favorite seat. Leah remarked that he was so kind. Margot appeared and noted that it seemed the young gentleman had already begun to court Lady Leia. She took the liberty of preparing some desserts for them and asked them not to be shy and to say if they wanted more. Cassell ordered Margot to stop talking nonsense, and now they would leave them to enjoy their time together. Leia was amazed that they could eat it. She wished them a pleasant appetite and began to eat. Cassell thought about how tiresome it was to be talked about so much, but she was very nice when she was quiet. This strawberry tart was the most delicious thing she'd ever tasted. Leia asked the young duke if she had done something wrong. He asked her to wipe her face. She had cream all around her mouth. Leia said that it was embarrassing. She had learned to eat like a lady but was still not good enough. Cassell asked her to calm down, because it happens to him sometimes too. Leah asked if it really happens to him too. He confirmed that after all, they're just kids. Leah said he looks so much like her, but boys, I don't get it. She means that he and Duchess Loperman are very... At first meeting, he looks cold, but in fact he is as tender as a strawberry tart. Cassell was confused as to what it was saying. Leah asked if she had embarrassed him. He replied that of course not. Although she seems to have an eye for Honey because he looks just like her mom. That's why she thinks he's as good as she is. Cassell can't even believe this girl thinks he's good just because of that. She's so weird. She's so happy. She didn't have any other friends his age except Radius. Cassell remembered that boy. Most of the time they meet because her mom and Madame Penzel are close friends. Sometimes he and his mom come to visit them, and she loves it when they play with him because he is so kind. Cassell clarified that it's not forever to be so open about how she likes the people around her. Leia won't say she likes everyone, and she said that she likes to play with Radius. Leia confirmed this because when they go out with him, they always have fun, and she smiles. Cassell noted how beautiful she was, though what the hell was he just thinking? She was the one who first stuck to him and wouldn't let him go. And now they're telling him how she doesn't like playing with another boy. What she's doing. Cassell declared that he would finish her tart. Leah asked the boy if he was angry. He looks angry, and she always feels better when her mom does that. Strokes her head. Doesn't he like the stroking of his head? Cassell himself didn't understand why he was suddenly so excited. He felt strange. And why she keeps talking to him so formally. She said it was because he was the son of a duke and she was a lady with manners. He pointed out that she was still just a child and that she should forget it and stop touching him. She could also talk to him in a way that made her feel comfortable. Leia recognized that she could finally relax then. He noted that she was already so happy. Why he had the feeling that she wasn't so bad, he couldn't understand. The girl turned to him and he never once said her name. Cassel did not understand why she was so sudden and how he should address her. She said she was Kyrenia, so he could call her that. They were friends now. The boy agreed and asked if she could step back a bit, then called her by her name. Leia said that was so sweet. Margot checked with the boys to see if they were having fun. It was getting late, so she had come to pick them up. Either that or they noticed the sun was setting and he was so engrossed with her that he didn't notice the time had passed. Mom and the Duchess will be worried, Leia called Cassel after her. Lady Fornell turned to the Duchess and thanked her for today. Sherial wished them a good journey. It must be hard for them to travel such a long way. The lady asked not to worry because thanks to her she would be better soon. Leia asked the young duke if she could still come. Cassel agreed and asked him to make a strawberry tart for her. It seems they didn't get very close and their happy future is almost guaranteed. Sherial wished the little girl all the best. They son will be waiting for them can come anytime. Leia said goodbye to him and said, "See you later." A couple days later. Sherial woke up not realizing she had come in early in the morning. From the window, she saw Margot and Cassel. She remembered the maid saying to ask the 10 gentlemen for holy water. Did she really bring it? Sherial thought she'd take one bottle and calm down, but she took dozens of bottles and handed them out to everyone like it was some kind of festival. Even if the Duke isn't poor, maybe she should stop them. Sherial turned to Sir Amor, who wished her a good morning. Why did she have to go outside in this cold? The Duchess replied that she was lying in bed and could see what was happening at the window, so how could she not go out? Amor replied that after that incident, the deacon was so angry that he had stocked up a lot of holy water. Even they were given a bottle each. Sherial noticed that he already had it empty, not that he had already sprinkled it all. It was a direct order from the Lord. He said not to skimp on such things, and he wouldn't want anything to happen to Ma'am. It may be practically a waste of money. He doesn't have the option to say no. The people in this mansion are so kind, especially the owner. Amor was in complete agreement. Sherial asked him if there was any holy water left for her. He replied that there was some left. Did she want to partake too? Sherial replied that she did not, but even so, she did not want such a precious liquid to be spilled on the ground. Then they would deliver the rest of the water to her room. Sherial thanked him. They seemed to be having fun. She should probably leave, or they'd be begging her to join them. She noticed that it was as if something was missing from her neck. After bringing back her memories, she suddenly found her mother's portrait pendant. Where had it gone? It was all she had left of her late mother. She'd give anything to let her help her, let her see her mother just one more time. The Winter Witch had asked for forgiveness, but it was impossible. The souls of the dead cannot return. Her memories are a blur. She keeps feeling like she doesn't deserve this happiness. Didn't she remember everything? And if not? Kion asked his wife what she was doing outside in this cold. The girl asked him not to scare him like that. And what was he doing here anyway? He asked if he shouldn't be in his own mansion. He was just about to go somewhere for work. Catewell greeted the ma'am. Anyway, what's wrong with her? She has an unhealthy complexion. Could it be that she's thinking about something sad again in her proud solitude? Couldn't she say it straight to her husband, his sweet wife? Cathwell stated to the Duke that he needed to get everything ready for his departure, and he would start with the carriage. He wished him a pleasant time with the Duchess. He could come when he was ready. Kion noted that Rietveld keeps going on and on about things he isn't asked to do. Doesn't he need to hurry up? Nothing is more important to him than her. He wondered if perhaps she was angry with him. Why would he even have such a thought in the first place? But she can't tell that the problem is the memories. She has to come up with another reason. She doesn't really like the way he calls her. Kion was shocked. She had recently met another noble mom, and she and her husband don't call each other by their first names. Kion had never given it a second thought. He inquired as to what she would like them to call each other. She didn't understand why he was looking at her like that. Sherial suggested the option of sweetheart, and there's also darling, favorite. She asked him to pick something. She wants them to call each other something special. Sheriel wants to be like Madame Fournel. She makes it sound so natural and sweet. He doesn't care what she calls him. Even just Keon makes him happy already. Sheriel realized she felt terribly embarrassed. She'd forgotten that it was originally a shortening of his full name, Erkion. She suggested the variant, My Love. Keon wondered why that was so. Just saying it made her shudder. And how could he call her that and remain unfazed? It's like he's not embarrassed at all. It's embarrassing. He asked her not to look away. The girl said it's not fair he's too good at eating shame. Maybe he's so perfect because he's a nobleman. If he doesn't go back to his assistant, he will complain again. Keon asks her not to worry because he doesn't mind waiting a bit. Sheriel knows he's very busy, but would he give her some time in the next couple of days? She wants to visit her mother, and the anniversary of her death is soon. He agreed and asked her not to worry. He will adjust his schedule to go there with her. The girl hugged him and thanked him. Cassel asked his mom where they were going. Sheriel answered that they were going to see someone very important to her mother. She had already told him about her. He clarified why she was so sad then, if this person was bothering her like a grandfather. She answered that no, of course not. But she had given her life. She would even say that she was happy that she could finally meet her. Keon asked her not to exert herself too much, and she thanked him for his concern. The priest greeted the Duke. He was waiting for them. He ordered us away, and the man asked her to follow him. Sheriel thought so. This is where her mother is. These places seemed to be well watched, and she had no idea he had taken such care of him. The priest announced that they were there, and Keon thanked him. He told his son they'd better not bother her yet. He knows that his son has a lot of questions, but for now, let him try to keep it together, to which the boy agreed. Cassel turned to his father and reminded him that his mother had said he would not meet someone important to her. So why hadn't they still seen him? Keon noted that it would probably be hard to understand him while he was still young, but some people looked at life differently. The boy didn't understand what his age had to do with it. He was the heir to the House of Loperman and would easily understand anything he was told. The fact that his son reacted in such a way said that he was right. Cassel asked when they would return to his mother, to which his father replied that it would be better to wait a little longer. They'll give her some time. Cassel understands, but he wonders if Grandpa will return to the mansion after the way he behaved that time. Keon noted that his son seemed to be very worried about his mother, and to be honest, it bothered him a lot too. But it'll be okay. He'll do everything in his power to keep him off their estate. He knows it's not a good idea to give details to a child, except that Lord Owen's actually already dead. Sheriel still doesn't know about it, so let it be a secret. Cassel says he won't tell her anything. It would be worse for him if she hated him because of it. Margot told her that the special bird that would bring her a brother or sister would only come if they loved each other very much. Keon didn't understand what that special bird was. If they fight again, the bird won't bring anyone. He is trying to spend less time with his mom to keep his promise, so he will try his best too. Suddenly it rained. Sheriel turned to her mommy and noted that they hadn't seen each other in a while. How she was here. She has a child now too. She was the most important person to her, but now she has someone who loves and cares for her. So she won't live with regrets anymore. I know she wouldn't have hated her even if she hadn't visited her, but she apologized for taking so long. Sheriel told her mom that she loved her very much too and kissed the grave. She loved her more than anything in the world. Cassel ran to his mom. He asked her why she was crying. The girl answered that it was just the rain that made her face wet. He offered to go home since the weather was like this. Sheriel agreed, but first she asked him if he could say something while they were here. Let him say that he was her favorite son. Cassel pointed out that there's no one here. Whoever he says this to is resting underground. That person has traveled to a distant star. Cassel understood and clarified what to say to him. He greeted and stated that he was his mother's favorite son. His name is Cardassel Loperman, and one day he will be a better duke than his father. That's how ambitious his son is. He needs shelter. He took it from one of the priests along the way. It's raining harder and harder. Let her put it on or she'll catch cold. He asked if she was better. He went back for her. He was glad they could finally come here together. He apologized for making her wait so long. From now on, he vows that she will have the most beautiful smile in the world. He stated that Sienna could not worry about her daughter and rest in peace. Sheriel wondered if that was how he came and interacted with her mother every time. So cute. Sheriel asked her mom to look. This is her sweet son, and this is her beloved husband. They all came together to meet her. Now she is living happily ever after. Every day she smiles and feels happy, so she can take it easy and rest in peace. But let her know that now not Lubby Ella will visit her more often. It's still raining. Even at home, it's cold now. She decided to go to bed early tonight. Sheriel is so tired. She can't see anything. Why is everything like a fog? Where is she? She can't even feel her cheeks. Is she really asleep? She didn't realize what that sound was. It was her mother's amulets. Sheriel asked not to take it away. That's when she saw herself. Was she willing to pay for it? Sheriel said yes, it was all she had left of her mother. She'll give her all her money, everything she has. Please let her give her one more time to see her mother. The Winter Witch apologized, but it won't work. She's dead and the witch is powerless. But she can turn back time. If she can't see her, she doesn't have to. There's no point in her life without her mother. The Winter Witch claimed she was a liar. Sheriel asked her why she thought she was lying. She's heard that the Winter Witch knows everything, but it seems she doesn't. She's just trying to hide something, so she offered her a bet. She doesn't know everything, or she does. She won't lose this argument if she's telling the truth. If she wins, she'll give her a new life for free. Sheriel was specific about the new life. A new life where she is loved by everyone and not forced to suffer and grieve. A peaceful and full of love life. The Winter Witch suggested she try it. Sheriel didn't know why she would agree. Who knows but herself? It may not be a bullseye life where she lives happily with her mother, but it would clearly be better than the one she lives now. Maybe she should relax and read about her lover's life from beginning to end. But it might not be the case that she would let her see her mother for a moment. Sheriel asked if she'd let her see her mother. It depends on her mood when the time comes to grant her wish. She is quite capricious. The girl agreed because she knows she's not gone. The Winter Witch ate that fine and the bet is made. If she's lying, she'll take what's due. Sheriel replied that she had said she wasn't lying, so was there any way she could prove she was telling the truth? The Winter Witch said of course she could. She will be given a new life woven from past memories, but her past life won't go anywhere either. And then she will be given a choice. To prove that she knows everything, and that she can live a happy life if she forgets about the past. It would be enough for her to see her happiness when she was loved, but she would think of herself as someone else. Sheriel was shocked that she had really made such a bet. At some point, she will be given the choice to continue living happily ever after, remembering nothing or fight for the rights to remember everything and become Sheriel Loperam again. If she wanted to be everyone's favorite Sheriel, then the witch was right. If she was given a new life, she would never choose to be Sheriel Loperam again. But it seems she has a lot of regrets about Sheriel Loperam's history, her management of the past, and her desire to change it the ultimate dream. The girl knows there's no way she's going to lose that bet. The Winter Witch has stated that in that case, she will take it. Let her consider it a pledge. Sheriel didn't realize what that was, what she should do now. She had chosen to be Sheriel Loperam again. Then what would the witch take from her? And there's nothing here. Margot informed Mistress that she had finished cleaning her room. Sheriel began to frequent the library. She was looking for something. Margot wondered what it was, if there was anything she could do to help. She needed something to do with the Winter Witch. Margot replied that if it was Winter Witch related, then she could look in the basement library instead of here. Sheriel wondered if there was a library in the basement. Margot told her mother she was the personal maid to the Duke's past, and because of that she knew him well. She said he often walked toward the basement in the middle of the night. I always wondered what that was about. Rumor has it this basement is the Duchy's hidden library, full of valuable relics. Maybe we should ask the Duke to take her there. If she was a mystery, there must be information there that couldn't be found here. Sheriel thanked the maid and replied that she would ask her husband right away, because it was mostly stories. Margot is always happy to help, but why am I suddenly so curious about the Winter Witch? Let Mistress and just don't say what. Sheriel didn't understand what it was about. I wonder if she's getting ready for the little lady. She didn't know what the maid was even talking about, It was just like when she told their son about that special bird. She asked her to stay here until she got back. Sheriel went to Keanu. She assumes her husband is probably busy and how to ask him discreetly. She asks if he's there. She doesn't want to interfere with his work, but maybe she's just screwing with herself. Keon went to see his wife, or maybe she's looking for him. She came in because she wanted to talk about something. He suggested she go and talk. Catewell told his Duke that there are so many more documents. The Duke was sure his assistant could handle it. Sheriel didn't realize what it was her husband was doing. The scan would let her go. Keon asked him to let him enjoy a little more. They're gone. The girl wants to walk on her own, so let him put her down, please. He would carry her as long as he wanted. She's lighter than a feather. Sheriel says enough is enough, it's too embarrassing. Reminds me of the first time they met, walking around here alone. Didn't used to come here much. It's been a long time. She wondered where they'd go now. He just wanted some fresh air and wondered if she'd ever ridden before. Sheriel told you about the horse. Her father wouldn't let her back then. He asked her to wait a little while later. He returned on horseback. He apologized for keeping her waiting. He asked her what she thought about riding this baby. The girl replied that it would be her first time and she was a little scared, but if she was with him, she was fine. So he put her on the horse and sat down himself. He dragged away whether she was comfortable. The girl replied that, yes, quite. Then we didn't go. She hadn't felt so alert in a long time. Keon asked if she was scared, to which she replied that he was right behind her. Then he would teach her to ride sometime. She said she'd be delighted. Great, and then he will make time for that. He wants to give her everything he can. He announced that they were at the place, and Sheriel recognized the place. Once told the little one to hurry back or they wouldn't be late. She apologized because she didn't think this bird was so hard to keep up with. Keon said it was okay. He was having fun too. She asked him if he didn't like it so much with her, but he was strange now. The girl asked him to stand and asked what was wrong. He was bleeding. Keon stated that he just had a wound that opened up and not to worry. The girl was outraged. Who even dares to touch the son on the Duke? You need to write now your life to the Duchess. Unut replied that it was useless, so she did. Sheriel didn't believe it. He said that it was a secret and that she should please not tell anyone. The girl declared that since he shared the secret with her, she would share hers too. Sienna's not really her babysitter, she's her birth mom. Looks like they both have some nasty secrets. Does that mean they're even closer now? She suggested that they should definitely be happy someday. He hadn't forgotten their promise, so he wanted to come back here at least once. After everything that had happened between them, he thought he would never come back here again. He really regretted that time, and the girl didn't understand why. Then if he told her everything he knew, maybe he could change things. Sheriel didn't agree because back then and just needed to be angry. She had lived a life full of regret, and when everything around her hurts, anyone would try to blame anyone. And no matter how many times she apologizes, she's done too badly to him and their sweet little boy. Keon's convinced it's all in the past, but the girl thinks it's not. Lately, every day of her life has been half a disaster, and she doesn't want to lose what she has now. He asked her not to worry because it's not going to happen if something has happened to her. She stated that she has already ruined one life. She asked him if he knew on the Winter Witch. He didn't understand the question. She didn't want to hide anything from him. He'd know something was wrong just by looking at her. She made a bet with her. The bet is whether or not she's lying. She asked her husband if he ever thinks about a future where they are miserable. Keon replied that never. All he wanted and still wants is for her to be happy. That's right. She's already lived that fate. By her towards the end, they never could accept each other. Unfortunately, consumed them. In the end, the ending was far from happy. Na mentally asked her husband to keep quiet if he thought it was a lie. He asked her what she was like in that past life. The girl was like a mountain off her shoulders and that she was worried. She loved him, but she couldn't say it because she'd read that she didn't deserve happiness. When she went to the Winter Witch, she just wanted to see her mother again. But she said her wish was impossible. But she could take her back in time 10 years. She said she didn't want that kind of life, and the witch said she was a liar. She tried to prove to her that she was telling the truth, and so began their wager. If what she said was a lie, the Winter Witch would win. Being who she is now, she chose to live with him and their son. To apologize to the son she had hurt and the husband who still waited for her. That was her true desire. Telling the witch she didn't want this life was a lie. She confessed to her husband that she loved him and her son too. She wanted to stay with them. But she lost, and soon the Winter Witch will come to take what is rightfully hers. Kian says she's not taking anything. That's very romantic, but are they talking about the Winter Witch, or does he have some kind of plan? He is this force. Does she know why he became the heir to the ducal house? She didn't understand what he was talking about all of a sudden. He was born by the powers of Duke Scovaroda and the title to pass on to so many children with those powers. She thought it was strange that some foreign maid gave birth to him and suddenly became a duchess. Kian's mother, the former Duchess of Loparam, died of an unknown disease. This can't be. Her mother also made a deal with the Winter Witch just to get this power. How could this happen? The price of the deal was her lifespan. Kian replied that no, she simply died of illness, and the day his mother passed away, the Winter Witch came to him. She said she came for what was her due. And the price his mother paid him was the misfortune of her child, which turned out to be his curse. Sheriel didn't understand how she could do this and why he tried to hide it, why he suffered alone, why he never said anything to me. All this time he had suffered terribly. He had already paid the price, so why should he lose his happiness again? There's no way he'd let that happen. Sheriel asked her son why he was sulking. He wonders where they went with his father and why without him. She replied that they were just venting and he knew they wouldn't go far without you. He asked if that was true and she confirmed it and suggested that if he didn't believe it, he should ask his father. Cassel seriously asked his father where they went. He pointed out that it was just like his mother told him, and they just walked around the neighborhood. There were classes and they went out for a while, so they took him with them, so he wouldn't be angry. He stated that his dad takes his mom to his house every night. He wouldn't even go to her in the morning because of this special bird and he couldn't take it anymore. Sheriel remembered about this special bird and asked her husband to explain. Xel asked Mom when this bird will bring a gift. His father promised him too. He said when this bird comes, it will bring him a sibling. Mom said she will give him anything for his birthday, so he waited very much. He makes the best big brother. Sheriel understood when this conversation first happened. But if her son is waiting, she'll do her best. He asked her to ask a special bird for him. She had seen it before. The girl said of course she would give it to her. By the way, his son's birthday is coming up. What does he want from sweets? He asked for a huge cake again. Sheriel said yes, and already has an idea of how to decorate it. And how about a trip to the south before his birthday? It's very warm there. Kian will try to make time for it. But he's very busy, and this time it's just the two of them. The Duke turned to his wife. And you said he was being punished for not telling her about the story of the special bird. Mistress of the news, or that the Duke had arrived. The girl asked her husband what he would do so early. Just don't let him say it's from yesterday's conversation about the trip. Kian wondered if she thought he was a fool. He handed her a book he had brought from the library in the basement. This book is about a winter witch. It was much more detailed than the fairy tales and might help. Sheriel thanked him at any cost to find a solution. If she needed his help, she could just call him. He would do anything for her. The girl stated that they were too close and the maids were watching. Kian didn't understand why they were embarrassed. They were married after all. And he still had work to do, so he would go and bid her goodbye until tonight. She didn't realize if this book Winter Witch is accurate. I think she likes the bitter taste of coffee, sometimes laughs like a mischievous girl. She always followed her interests wherever they led. Interestingly, a woman with a blurred line between good and evil. Like not looking at a full book doesn't seem like it, and it seems someone from a past duke had a close relationship with a winter witch. Could it be that these are just notes about her, and here she found what she needed? I have often been bored with the permanence of fate, so that it fulfills the desires of those who wish for more than they were given. Even knowing it would bring them nothing but misery. The Winter Witch has always acted in her own interests. Because of her immortality, people were only amusing toys for her. It's not hard to find her, and wherever she is, the place is rife with rumors. However, meeting her is not so easy. She is only someone she finds interesting. It seems she only granted her wish because she wanted to see her destiny change dramatically. Even knowing so much about her, it's unclear what she should do. Maybe it's useless to even think about it. And there's so much to prepare for her son's birthday, and they have a trip to the south in front of them. She has no idea, and her mind is full of anxiety and happiness and what she might expect from her. Sheriel was back in her dream, and she saw the Winter Witch, who stated that she hadn't seen her recently. She's glad something remembered her. Then she knows why she came. Yes, she had come to collect her winnings. The Winter Witch didn't realize what kind of grimace she was making. One look at her and she immediately seems like a villain. She's just taking what's rightfully hers. She returned the pendant to her mother. She didn't need it anyway. Sheriel asked her what she would be taking away. The Winter Witch clarified if she was afraid the price would be her happiness. She would know when they met live. She couldn't take anything away now. Sheriel clarified when they would meet. It will come before the end of winter. But she shouldn't be afraid, because her fate is interesting enough. The witch is even thinking of giving her a little present. It was fun to watch her after all. She better not worry about the witch, but about other people. Altered destiny isn't so predictable anymore. And how unpredictable it is. In the first life, nothing much happened. The empire was peaceful and orderly, and there were problems only in the north. But Kion stood in defense of the north. He easily suppressed any attempts at invasions and taking over territories. He was strong enough to be called the Guardian of the North. She didn't have any ideas. Now that would give her a clue. Margot was calling for Mistress at this point. Sheriel asked her what was wrong, why she was suddenly screaming. She tried several times to call out to her calmly, but she didn't respond. She had come to tell her that the carriage was ready. She remembered the tea party at the Marquis Penzel's estate, after all. Sheriel remembered and asked where Cassel was. He usually insists on riding with her. The young master is waiting for her in the carriage. Sheriel ran to her son. She apologized. Maybe he's angry because she didn't give him enough time. Cassel's not angry. Then why did he come here so early? He usually comes to her first. He just wants to be early. She remembered telling him that Radius and Leia would be there. Could he really be that impatient to meet Leia? The boy got embarrassed and stated that he wasn't one bit. He asked her to be quicker or they would be late. She didn't understand how anyone could be so nice. She wondered if he was nervous, perhaps wanting to meet Leia sooner. He stated that wasn't true. He just couldn't stop thinking about something. He promised to prepare strawberry tartlets for her when she came over again, but since they're not meeting at their place. Sheriel suggested just inviting her over. Then he would give them to her in person afterward. Cassel remarked that it was a great idea, and he asked her what that locket around her neck was. He's never seen it before. It's the most precious thing to her. She inquired if he wanted to see something interesting. The locket opened and there was a picture. He asked who it was in the picture. Mentally, she answered her son that it was his grandmother. But he doesn't know the truth, so he might think it's the former Countess Owen. She replied that she would tell him when he was older. If she met him, she would love him more than anyone in the world. He asked her if she would really tell. She replied that of course she would, because she always kept her promises. Marquise Purcell greeted Sheriel and her son. She had been expecting them. It had been a long time since they had seen each other. Sheriel asked her son if he was looking for someone. He replied that he wasn't. He wasn't at all interested in where Kyrenia was now. The Marquise asked what they should do. The young lord is waiting, after all. Tyla had not yet arrived. Cassel stated that he really wasn't expecting her and asked where Radius was. Radius appeared and greeted Her Excellency. It had been a long time since they'd seen Cassel. As soon as he was mentioned, he appeared. Could it be he was talking about him? Yes, he was going to go look for him, because going to meet guests is not interesting at all. Radius was late because he was preparing for Leia's arrival. He can't wait to show off his skills again, but he'll hold off. I wouldn't want anything to happen to Leia. When they walk together with Radius, they always have fun and she's always smiling. By the way, why does he call Kyrenia Leia? Radius wondered if he already knew her. She wore him out then. She was running around non-stop. But he's sure that even without that, her aura alone would make the walls crumble. She needs an eye on her. He promised his mother that he wouldn't inconvenience anyone this time. Radius promised his own the same. Today, he offers to play along and get along with them. It's like Leia has 2 older brothers, the Marquise thought to herself. Was it her imagination, or did Cassel really like Leia? It seems Tila's carriage has arrived. Miss Fornell apologized. She hoped they weren't too late. Leia couldn't decide which dress to wear. Leia ran to the Duchess of Loper. She thanked her for the dresses she had given her. They were so beautiful, and she could hardly choose. Leia asked how she liked her dress. We need to get her and Cassel together as soon as possible so she can be her daughter-in-law. She is more beautiful than all the colors. A pretty girl like that would look the prettiest in any dress. She doesn't even have to choose what she wears. However, there is no one more beautiful than her, the Duchess of Loperam. Sheriel was glad she felt that way. She remarked that Leia should probably go there. They were really expecting her. Leia stated that if so, she would go right now and thanked the Duchess. The girl called the boys by name. Radius asked her to be careful, if she was going to run like that. Leia noted that she was fine and hadn't fallen. Cassel asked her to be careful. Radius thought she would hurt herself. The girl noted that she was fine, though. The 3 of them are going to have a lot of fun tonight. Leia is already torturing them, sweetness. Marquise heard that Sheriel had started practicing riding. After a short horseback ride with her husband, she was getting very curious. Gretzog is so caring, he seems to be willing to do anything for her. Yes, he is a very good man. The Marquise noted how Sheriel was getting redder, just like a strawberry. So shy. By the way, Tyla told the Marquise everything about the illness, and she's very grateful to her for helping her out. It's nothing. Anyone would have done the same. The Marquise would like to help her. Maybe there's something. Tyla would be very pleased too. Sheriel wondered what the big deal was. Cassel's birthday was coming up. Couldn't they help her organize the party? Leia asked Radius if he was listening to her at all. Of course he's all ears. Every way you look at it, he's lying. Answered like a manual. Radius was late because he was preparing for Lea's arrival. I didn't want anything to happen to Leia. Cassel thought it shouldn't concern him. That's why she arrived in those clothes. It was quite cold when they left. Leia asked Cassel if he was listening to her. The boy said of course and turned to Kyrenia. Everyone calls her Leia, after which he wiped her face. The girl asked worriedly if she had something on her face again. Cassel replied that it was fine and he had already cleaned it up. The girl thanked her. Yes, she is usually called Leia. Cassel remarked how cute she was. If only he could see her beauty. He had once told her mom that if he let her out, she would run right away. Sheriel had told him that if he loved something, it should be cherished. Let him not try to appropriate it for himself, but let it fly free. Cassel clarified that if it didn't, it wouldn't leave him. His mom answered him that it doesn't have to. If he loves something and lets it go, when it comes back to him, he will know that it loves him too. He doesn't need to try to catch and hold him. It's better to give him time to realize it's safe to come back. Speak warm words to it, and it will appreciate it with all its heart. Love given to someone always comes back. He didn't understand why he suddenly remembered his mom's words. The girl had clarified if he wanted to call her Leia. Mentally, he agreed, but aloud he refused. The girl didn't understand why. She didn't mind. Cassel stated that he didn't want to, and she noted what a meanie he was. He'll call her that later when she's a lady who doesn't get dirty while eating. Leia asked him not to tease her and stop being a boo. He noticed that Radius wasn't really interested in their conversation. But that was even better. At least it wasn't annoying. Enough of her complaining already. She should try the cookies. They're delicious. He wants to show her how he feels, even if it's a little discreetly. So how the 2 of them usually spend their time together. They usually start in the garden, look at the newly blooming flowers, and after the walk, they have cookies and milk. The flowers here are very beautiful, and the cookies are so delicious, so she is happy to come and visit Radius every time, and last time she'd been allowed to pet the horse. Cassel wondered if Radius had run out of snide comments today. He's just admiring Leia. She's so cute. Let him see for himself. Leia loves strawberry tarts, so she wants a big strawberry cake for her birthday. Just like the Duke's birthday cake, it was so good. Leia clarified that Radius's birthday is in the summer, right? That's exactly right. Leia wondered when Cassel's was. The boy replied that it's in the winter and it's pretty soon. They are obliged to celebrate it at the Duke's estate. That means she'll get to taste the huge strawberry tart again. They must invite her. Cassel agrees. He'll send an invitation. The Marquise understands Cheriel, but at this rate, she just has to invite as many people as possible to make her little boy feel how special he is. It was Leah's birthday, and there were so many guests. She was glowing with happiness all day long. Maybe they'll invite all the ladies the Marquise knows. She's sure no one will refuse to come. Teal is also willing to help in any way she can. Cheriel is grateful for the offer, but she doesn't think it's a good decision. Cassel doesn't usually like large crowds of people. Then how about at least inviting her and Tyla? As in the Marquise's opinion, it's a great idea. Their children get along very well. She asked Cheriel's opinion. She likes it. Cassel likes a smaller crowd, but she's sure he wouldn't mind the company of friends. Marquise is good to hear. She will definitely find ways to keep the kids entertained. Tyla will help too, and she can rely on them. Cheriel thanked her. She was glad they were so excited about the idea. By the way things have been so nice and peaceful lately, it's comforting. Usually by this time of year, various shakeups start to happen. Cheriel didn't know what she was talking about. Their lands are often invaded and attempted to be taken. If it weren't for Duke Loperam, the place would be in chaos. It's true, their tranquility is entirely due to the Duke. They are very grateful for his protection. It's only because of him that their small talk is possible. Because their lands are on the northern border, there are constant wars fought over them. And if you think about it that way, Kian does go on expeditions on a daily basis. All this time he had suffered terribly, and he had already paid the price. So why should he lose his happiness again? She thought that constant expeditions were normal for him. But in his previous life, she hadn't even seen him off or met him. And he still tried so hard to protect her. Now it's time to protect him. What is happening on the border is not revealed to the public at all, which makes it very disturbing. Cheriel thanked Venetia. That's very nice. Tyla is restless too. It's easy to lose your life on the battlefield. It's just a moment's distraction. She can't even imagine if her dear husband gets hurt. Cheriel too. She doesn't want Kian to get hurt. Venetia said there's no need to worry about something that hasn't even happened. After all, the Duke is the Empire's strongest soldier and protector. I'd like to believe that if what the Winter Witch wants is connected to him, she can't be at ease while he's on expeditions. If she's so worried about him, why don't she get him something embroidered? Tila's sure the Duke will love it. Cheriel that it's a great idea and thanked her, however also her to embroider. Anything just explores following the dictates of her heart. The Marquesa will think it best to symbolize their love for each other. Well, she doesn't have much time yet anyway, so she'll think about it. Cassel turned to his mom and asked how he and Dad got married. He was playing with his friends, so why would he ask such a question? She wondered what he was doing all of a sudden. He remembered something she'd told him while they were there, that if he really loves something, you can't keep it to yourself forever. You have to let it go. If the feeling's mutual, it'll come back to him. I just wonder if his dad did the same thing. His dad was always ready for her to come back, but she kept trying to fly away. And over time, she came to realize that he was warmer than she thought. She felt like she was trapped in a cage, but actually she felt safe and cared for around him. He specified it as a nest. Yeah, well, then she thought his dad locked her in. That's why she was so cold to him and his dad, and it's a shame, really. He asked if anyone would feel safe around him. Of course, it couldn't be that someone wouldn't like him. Cassel thanked Mom. She asked you to go down carefully. Cheriel didn't understand why everyone was outside what was wrong with their faces. Margot said they had important news for Mrs. Cheriel didn't know what she was talking about. Earl Owen had been in a carriage accident and it had been a while, but the news had only reached the north now. If he had a carriage accident, he must be badly hurt. Margot said no, he's sort of. Cheriel imagined the accident, and if everything fits with his past life, he died in the accident. It's best not to say bad things in front of Cassel. Judging by Margot's hesitation, she's of the same opinion. Cheriel suggested to her son in minutes that it was already cold. They should wash up soon and go to bed. The maid replied that she understood the situation and would talk to her husband about it, so she and her son could go. Kian asked his wife why she was still awake. Something is keeping her awake. He dragged away if it wasn't all because of the news of the Earl's accident. When she heard all about her father being in an accident and wasn't sad at all, it must be strange. On the contrary, she thought he'd been getting on the nerves of all the people in the duchy until the end. After all, she wants to be a good mom to her son, so she didn't tell him the truth about Grandpa's death. After all, it's a little strange for a daughter not to be sad when her father dies. Kian reported that Cassel also knows that his father is a bad man who tried to hurt her. There is no need to try to be sad for the man who caused her suffering. The bottom line is not strange at all. Even if he had avenged her, she would be grateful, for she was not a kind person. Kian wondered if she knew, but in fact, she was only guessing. In his previous life, he had died in a traffic accident too. At the same time, there had been an accident after he found out what her father had subjected her to. That's how he wanted her not to know. He asked her if she despised him if she felt he had gotten his hands dirty. Sheriel didn't understand why she would despise him, but she felt like she'd gotten his hands dirty, and she didn't like that. She really hated the previous Duchess and Countess Owen. She hated her after her mother died, and they acted as if nothing had happened. She wondered why she was so miserable and powerless. She wished they were dead, but on the other hand, she was scared and afraid of them, so she couldn't think of resisting them. Because they could easily take everything from her and give her nothing in return. She asked him directly how much blood he had on his hands because of her, and how much more blood he would shed to protect her. Kian replied that it's okay if it smiles, he can do anything. She thinks of him as much as he thinks of her. She wished he wouldn't get hurt for her again. Kian pointed out that he is strong enough. Sheriel wants this hand to have no more calluses and his body to have no more wounds. At this time of year, he always goes on a military trip, and every time he comes back as if nothing had happened. But there were quite a few dangerous moments. Could it be that he and the new one would be leaving soon? There's nothing left for him to do to protect her and their son. Sheriel told him she loved him, so much so that she has bad thoughts about how nice it would be to not be the ball protecting the Empire. His vow was not to the Empire because he is less of a protector of his wife, not her. He is a man and a husband who will always protect her. He is a man who knows nothing but her. He will return in one piece so she has nothing to worry about. So can Anapa welcome him back when he does? Does she have the power to stop him? He must return safely. If he hurts a single hair, she won't leave him alone. Kian gave his word. The next day, Margot claimed he'd gotten a celestial bark for screwing up with the mistress, and she was sure the god himself was angry. Sheriel asked the maid if it was normal to say such things to the dead, and she was worried at first. It had nothing to do with Kai and that damn Earl. She was worried that the Duchess would freak out. He was originally a nasty man, so her worry is a luxury that he must be kind. The maid was right. He was a nasty man. Still, she is his daughter, and it would be strange if she smiled upon learning of death from her father. She'd put on an act, of course, but she didn't want to shed tears. Margot asked her not to shed her tears over such a man, because he was gone. It is necessary to forget him, and from now on, he has nothing to do with them. She has prices of people she wants to protect. A week passed. Sheriel asked herself if everything was going to be all right. Margot stated that the master couldn't help but like her, and she came out very nicely. Cassel also supported the mom asked not to worry. He is so beautiful that he wants one for himself. Besides, she had put her heart into it, so the owner would appreciate it very much. Sheriel thanked her son and the maid. She felt better. The girl turned to her husband, and he dragged the unsuspecting men out to meet her. The boys confirmed it. Sheriel asked him to be careful. He'll be back as soon as possible, so she won't worry. Suddenly, she handed him a handkerchief. He asked what it was. She came out this handkerchief thinking a beautiful and noble snow wolf, wearing one just like him. She wanted the handkerchief to be a little psychological support, and he came back safe and sound. She clarified that she didn't like it. She embroidered it all day long and thought about it. Kian clarified that she said she thought about him all day long. There's not much she can do. It would have to be left as a family heirloom to be passed down from generation to generation. She didn't understand why such a thing should be passed down, because he wanted to keep the memory of his wife's appreciation and love for him for a long time. She asked him to be careful and come back so she wouldn't worry anymore. Cassell turned to his father and asked him to come back unharmed so his mother wouldn't worry about him. He replied that he would definitely return to where his family was waiting for him. A few days later, Cassell asked Bear how many times to tell him not to have a birthday party on his birthday. Sheriel stated that he didn't need to be like that and to think again. The boy was adamantly opposed. She didn't understand why her son suddenly changed his mind. There was a huge cake waiting for him. He wanted to have a banquet because he wanted to get congratulations from Mom and Dad. Well, now Dad's off on a military trip. Every time he surprises me by thinking deeper than his mom. Sheriel understands his feelings, but Dad wants him to have a happy birthday getting congratulations from lots of people. He knows, but he's having a hard time and he doesn't want a banquet. She's decided she won't insist on the banquet because she's selfish. If he says so, it can't be helped then that he wants to make his birthday. She will fulfill her boy's every wish. Cassell that it's okay to do nothing. She pointed out that even if it's not a banquet, it's a celebration. If Daddy comes back and finds out that he just spent his birthday like that, he'll be very disappointed. Cassell asked him to just invite Radius and Leah to celebrate. Her son addresses the girl by her affectionate name, and what luck that they seem to have a good relationship. Sheriel said of course they could. Even if there's no celebration at the hard work of preparing the cake for his birthday, she suggested he write an invitation together. He added that she should make a cake with lots of strawberries, especially on top. Margot declared that those flowers were decorations for the front door. The frame skewed to the young master's birthday, there should be no mistake. Sheriel noted that the mansion was much more luxurious, and she checked with the maid about the cake for her son. They said they were putting their heart and soul into the cooking, and it would be finished soon. She asked what about her son, if he was still asleep. The young gentleman woke up very early, perhaps because of the wait. He said he would go to her, but it seems their paths had diverged. She asked the maid to fetch him because she had something to tell him. Margot understood and left. It was time to congratulate him, and it was difficult to do so. She made every effort to bond with her son, and not a year later, so many different things happened. Sheriel wished her son a happy birthday. He pointed out that they'd be celebrating a little later, so why was she wishing him a happy birthday? She wanted to be the first to congratulate him. Cassell asked if the arrangements were finalized. His mother confirmed that they said that they were almost finished, so she suggested that he change his clothes before welcoming the guests. He didn't know what you were talking about, but he's dressed now, and he's been so careful to choose clothes. Sheriel pointed out that these clothes were nice, but there was an outfit that his mother had specially prepared for him today. Cassell was surprised and said he would wear it. She asked the maid to take care of it, and you replied to trust her. Mistress prepared it as an unexpected gift, but the size is just right for him. She ordered this outfit to go along with her attire today. It really suits him, and he is charming and young as the main character of the banquet should be. Margot notified Mistress that the young gentleman had finished dressing. Sheriel asked her son not to hide and to come out. Cassell resented how his mom could dress him in such a thing without saying a word to him. Sheriel stated that his mom was sorry. He asked her if she was really apologizing to him. She had a suspicious look on her face. Of course she apologizes, but their outfits were specially prepared for today. He's wearing this outfit because it's his birthday, and because his mom prepared it. Next time, she will order an outfit he likes. She thanked him for wearing it, even though he didn't like it. He understood, and asked her not to do it next time. Margot alerted the mistress that it looked like the guests had arrived. Sheriel greeted Venetia and Lady Fornell. They thanked her in return for the invitation, and their lovely children greeted them as well. She urged her to go quickly, and they had not prepared much food today, so they would have fun with Cassell. Radius said that he would be careful not to cause strife like last time. Leah hugged Cassell and wished him a happy birthday from the bottom of her heart. The boy said that you can't just suddenly freak out like that. Leia did not understand why what's the big deal, and friends hugging. She understood and asked me to step back a little. She is so happy that today she can wish him a happy birthday. Radius pointed out that the girl was acting normal, so he should understand that. Radius handed him a present, and the girl noted that she had brought it too, but she had left it in the carriage. When the servants moved the gifts their mothers brought, they would bring it to her. Leia said she didn't have to, and she wanted to give it to Radius herself. Radius said the girl was really adorable. Cassell was curious about what was inside, to which the boy replied that it would be fun for him to tell. He would have to open later, and it was his choice. Cassell asked the servant to put it in his room. If it was a strange gift, he wouldn't just leave it like that. But he has to, because if they share, his mom will be very upset. And he doesn't want to be mean to his mom either. Cassell said he's really insufferable. Okay with that, but he's curious about something hanging behind his outfit. Leia stated that she seemed to know what it was. It was angel wings, and it suited him very nicely. He had no idea what his tastes were. If he did, he would have given him clothes with wings. Cassell got angry, to which Radius asked that he wasn't going to throw it here. He told him to stand still, and Leia stated that she was going with them too. Everyone is so nice, good thing she brought the sphere image. Sheriel didn't realize if it was normal that they sorry as soon as they met, and the banquet is about to start soon after all. She is right, and hopes that the girl is not making the Lord uncomfortable. The Marquesa said it's okay, because they're kids. It would be a fun banquet. The servants wished the young master a happy birthday. Leia and Radius also joined them. The Duchess noted that everyone was congratulating her son and whether he would respond. He stated that he had given them all a lot of trouble, but he was grateful that they had congratulated him. He will try harder from now on. The servants burst into tears, and when their young master had grown so much, they would continue to work hard for the young master. He also thanked the people who had come to congratulate him today. The Marquise noted how solid he is, and Lady Fornell can't even believe he is a lord a year younger than her daughter. He also thanked his friends for coming. Leah said that of course they should have congratulated him, since they had agreed to celebrate. She noted that there were so many strawberries on his cake. Did he like them too? Tyla asked her daughter to have some decorum. He actually likes his mom's pecan pie, but the girls like strawberries. He stated that yes, he likes them too. Leah noted that he and he have so much in common, they also like strawberries very much. They will make lots of strawberry tarts today so she can enjoy his birthday banquet. Radius assumed his friend liked the girl, and that made things a little more complicated. He didn't think their tastes matched. Sheriel asked if it was time to light candles and make a wish. Cassell asked her to forget about the candle because they would do that one later. He had a favor to ask of her. If you ask her price, she will do anything and what she needs to do. It's nothing special. He wants to blow out the candles on the cake with her later that night. He got the very first birthday present from her, so he wants to spend more time alone. Her prices are a baby. She won't let him go through what happened in the past again. She agreed, and she will definitely blow out the candle with him. They give each other both. The Duchess stated that her son had said he would come back a little later and check to see if everyone was ready for the meal. They were thanked for coming to the birthday party and being able to enjoy the banquet. Vanessa commented that it really was the best meal ever. The dessert was fantastic too. So cute that the smile never left their faces. She suggested looking at this video image. She asked the maid to capture the children eating. The two lords, though 1 year younger than Leia, would find neater, and it seemed her daughter was only a child. Venetia noted that the girl had a little too much sticking to her lips, so she observed the rules of etiquette. A child, but already quite a distinguished lady. Cassell and Radius don't want to lose to each other even in small things, and both were not afraid to be nervous when they ate. She's more like a duchess. Maybe she thinks so too. They have such a strong desire to win. They're friends, but they're also enemies. They captured the adorable look of their son. Well, it would be nice if her son let her too. Venetia is really sorry because today the Lord is much more charming and cute than usual. In fact, this image sphere was prepared by Tila. They did her a great favor, so she wanted to pay it back at least in small ways, and this is the small gift she is asking to accept. Sheriel measured and thanked Lady Fornell. She couldn't believe she'd get to look at the adorable looks of the children a few times. It's her son's birthday today, but she got a big present herself. Tila is glad she likes it, and she wishes the Lord a happy birthday once again. There's still so much to talk about, but the sun has already set. It's a shame they haven't even halfway talked about their sweet children yet. When the days get colder, the sun sets faster in the north. Too bad it was time for them to leave, and they offered to have tea together again next time. Tyla thanked for the invitation, and she too would look forward to the next tea party. Cassel urged her mom and hurry to make a wish. Sheriel noted that it could be done slowly and the moon was still high in the sky, but not to let time pass by mistake and the wish would not come true. His mom agreed and offered to make a wish sooner rather than later. He asked me to make it so that his father would come back soon, and I could not go on a trip to the warm south together. He noted that his mom should tell him that she wished him a happy birthday. Sheriel said exactly that, and she almost forgot. She wished her favorite son a happy birthday. Kian was wondering about the movements of the neighboring states. There's not much movement because they know there's no gain in invading the empire. That means the border barbarians have invaded unilaterally this time. They also seem to be hostile to the Duke, so they're attacking more fiercely. He's only born in the land between the Empire and the aliens, but he has to hear that he's a traitor to the people. The people are brutal, murdering brutal. Robbing the innocent has nothing to do with him. He was abused by his mother and can't recognize the culture and customs of the strangers. And he still has fresh memories of the abuse he was subjected to as a child. He can't understand those who want to kill him just because he was born in the Empire and raised here. Well, whatever happens, he protect his family and the Empire. Kian turned to Amu. He said that they should take this chance so that they are no longer important. From now on, there's no need to show mercy. If they invade, execute them on the spot and don't send any back alive. After all, coming here, you have to put your life on the line to pay the price for daring to finish him. Margot is tired. She's had a good night's sleep and her body's aching for some reason, probably because she's had a lot on her mind lately. By the way, she heard that her son has a new homeroom teacher. Yes, one of the young master's teachers had to leave for the south for the winter, and another person was hired temporarily. Quite understandable because winter in the north is fierce. It is hard to endure, as it seems, but teachers. Margot thought. She looks kind, but there's something strange about her. Let mistress do what you haven't heard. She said that because everyone else likes her, they call her kind. Sheriel said that among the maids, she trusts her the most. So if something bothers her, she doesn't have to hide it and speak up. Margot thanked her for those words, but there was no good reason for her to think so. Then let her stay with her son and follow her for a while. She understood her and said that she would go then. Madam said she was tired, so she would go to bed early tonight. There's still plenty of time to go to bed, and why is she so tired? Sheriel heard an affectionate voice calling her. She missed him so much. But she saw her mom, who said that they hadn't seen each other for a long time, and she seemed to be doing well. Sheriel was amazed that this was really her mom, which she confirmed. She asked if she had chewed well and she was too late to come to her. Sienna replied that she was fine and she understood her feelings perfectly. But she's fine, so they'll talk about her and she has a new concern. You can't hide anything from Mom. She's worried about her husband and she's afraid of the witch's fee. She is distraught, but lately she has been thinking how nice it would be if they had a daughter like her and him. Every time she sees a girl Cassel's age, she wonders what it would be like to have a daughter. Could she give endless love to her daughter and when you gave it to her mom? Because even though she won't be back, she can feel her mom's love in a different form. Sienna asked her daughter not to worry, and she would come to meet her soon. A few days later. Just because she had a dream some time ago, but today she misses her mom even more. Margot informed Mistress that she had brought the fruit she had requested, and lately she had been asking for sour fruit a lot. And that's right, she was so eager to eat them for some reason. She also checked with her son's homeroom teacher. The other maids say she got close to Cassel. Margot stated that she was a little strange at first, but it seems that it was her imagination playing tricks on her. Unlike other teachers, the young master is treated to his age. The young master is still the heir to the Duchy of Loperum, so usually the teachers are polite, but they have a bit of a hard time. So there was nothing strange in her opinion. Margot confirmed this and apologized for saying something she didn't mean. Sheriel said it was fine and asked what about her checking. She is interested in how her son's lessons are going, and if she has a chance, she wants to see the lessons of other teachers somewhere acceptable. Margot said that, of course, and she would prepare everything we had. Cassel called his mom. She noted that he had already come to his mom right after the lessons were over. He asked her to hold out her hand, but she didn't understand why. He said he was ready, and he tried really hard. He wondered how she was doing. It was a bracelet, and it was so beautiful, probably because her son had made it. She thanked him and said she would always wear it. He asked her to wear it always. Now she has something to brag about when Daddy comes back. Cassell stated that yes, it would be nice if Daddy came back sooner. Sheriel is curious about his studies, and she can watch him for a day. Her son asks if she will come to see him study, and he agrees. She will see how well he is learning, and she will have to praise him. The teacher asked the Lord what he thought about this part. He is listening to the lesson with all seriousness, and just have to look at his concentrated face. Very cute and adorable. The teacher is acting quite strict, and in the last lesson, the teacher was like that too. It's because the Lord is so serious, and in her eyes, he is only charming. Today's lesson is over at this point, and the teacher stated that the Lord did a great job. Cassell stated that he is looking forward to their next lesson. The next lesson would be taught by the new teacher. She greeted the Duchess and introduced herself as Asta Vertol. Sheriel greeted Miss Vertol, and she had heard that she was teaching her child well, even though she had just arrived. The teacher said she was overpraising her, and the Lord was exceptionally intelligent, so it was a pleasure to teach him. The Duchess only noticed the strange and didn't realize what it was, just that there was a strange feeling, or perhaps it seemed to her, perhaps she was too caught up in Margot's words. Asta understood how one could be so charming. She apologized for allowing herself to speak out to the Lord without a belt. Sheriel stated that there was no need to feel so guilty. After all, she said it unintentionally, because her child is cute. The teacher confirmed this because he is indeed smart and charming enough that she would like to stay even after winter is over. Duchess thanked her for appreciating her boy. And by the way, is she badly cold? She worries that recently her fingertips have been red and they keep shivering. Asta confessed that she didn't realize it was such a harsh winter in the north. She was looking for a temporary job and was told it was a good chance, so she got a recommendation and ended up here. She asked the maid to give Miss Vertol a warm coat. Her clothes are thin, so the cold feels even worse, and she will give her coat to her and let her wear it with pleasure. A while later, the teacher thanked the Duchess. She will wear it very carefully. What a show of gratitude for taking good care of her son. Asta motioned for the Lord to begin today's lesson. They seem to be close with Cassell. Everything will be fine and there's not much to worry about. If Madame hadn't given her a coat, she would have frozen. Asta noticed that someone had come to see her, although she had not been contacted or told that they were coming. The girl said that she had stopped by on her way, and she had to check if she was in any discomfort since she had been introduced to the duchy. Besides, she said it was her first time in the north. Asta noted that she was indeed a caring woman who found and worked on the house. And today she saw the Duchess in the mansion. She is graciously, dazzlingly beautiful, so one can see why the Lord has grown so good. So far, she's only dated young lords who always yelled that they didn't want to listen to lessons or pulled her hair because they didn't like her looks. She's so glad the Lord is kind. Cassell asked her what she was but the teacher. Asta thought only that no mistake could be made, and if she hurt him mentally, it would be tormented again. He didn't understand why she was trembling and let her start the lesson. The teacher didn't understand if he wouldn't torture her, and suggested to start then. He said that when they finished, he had to go to his mother, so he asked to make the lesson a little faster. She stated that today is the first class, so she is going to show something amazing. Cassell stated that it was very beautiful. There is a custom in the Eastern Kingdom to give a dear person a bracelet made of beautiful threads. If he asked why this custom was created, he understood and stated that the teacher was very good at explaining things. She stated that it was because he had an outstanding talent and said that they would see each other tomorrow. He asked her to wait and asked if she could teach him how to make the bracelet. Asta said that she had just brought the thread and he could see how it was done. She asked who he was going to give the bracelet to when he made it. Cassell stated that he would give it to his mother because she was a very dear person to him. Asta was deeply impressed when she saw the Duchess wearing the bracelet made by the Lord with all his sincerity, and she thanked the woman for introducing her to the place. The woman laughed, to which the teacher asked if she was okay. The woman replied that she was fine. Just for a second, a bad memory popped into her head. This woman had once yelled that he needed a once-over to bring him to his senses, hadn't she? Sheriel summoned Lady Gertie, saying that her patience was not limitless, so maybe she would speak up. Her son said her son has a mixture of barbarian blood in him and put him in an awkward situation. If her son ruined his mood, she apologizes she doesn't know where he heard such nonsense. Cheryl ordered her not to touch her, and she can't forgive someone like her. She told her son to leave and go home with her. Lady Gertie remarked that she looked like a surprised teacher, and she didn't think she would be shivering all over. Asta noted that it was probably because it was cold. The northern cold was not easy to get used to, and she noted that the teacher seemed to like the earrings. She confirmed that it was a precious gift from her. She said that if she was going to work in the duchy, she would need a suitable outfit, but she didn't have any jewelry like that among her things. She thanked her for giving her something so precious. If she was kicked out before winter passed, it might hurt her reputation, so she did so. Asta will try not to hurt her. Gertie says it's good and fine that she listens to her, and she wants to ask her something, if she knows when Duke Loperam, who has gone on a military trip, will be back. Asta stated that she didn't know that very well. Although that's true, how would a normal homeschooler know that? She had done a great job and it was time to go back. She will hope that on her next visit she will have the answer to her question ready. Catewell informs Mistress that he has brought the documents she asked for, only that's what she's worried about. She was actually thinking about what a nice place to visit with a child. Other than visiting other mansions, they didn't go anywhere for fun. That was it. And as far as where to go, it would be best to stay within the north. He clarified if he should pick out and provide her with potential places that were worth the young master's time to visit. The Duchess clarified that he would indeed do so. She asked for information on as many places as possible, and she wants to get out more often with her son. He understood and would select the places and pass on the details as soon as possible. A few days later, Margot stated Mrs. that I should definitely go to this place. Cassell stated that he would be happy to go anywhere as long as he went with his mom. Asta thought the north was cold and harsh, but there are so many beautiful locations. But Spite Madame has shown her so many favors that because of her desire to repay, she has not tactfully intervened, but she thinks that unfortunately she can't help. Cheryl replied to the teacher that there is no need to thank her for every act of kindness. She's not doing her favors because she wants payment, and just like now, let her be a good teacher for his son. Miss Vertol thanked her. Cheryl snapped at Sina and said that his opinion is the most important thing to her, so if he wants something, he can tell her about it. He replied that he liked any place as long as he went with his mom. Margot said that in that case, it would be best to visit Rohannet Square, if the reasons for which she so actively recommends it. It's a beautiful landscape and nature is of course important, but it's for adults. Children will be interested in going to a place full of fun, so they should go to that square. Castle clarified with his mom that if they go there, they can have an unforgettable experience. Of course, the vendors always gather in Rohannet Square and it's sure to be fun. Cassell told his mom that he wants to go where Margot recommends. If that's what he wants to do, he won't. And next time, he also wants to go with his father everywhere they can't go together. Cheryl stated that of course, and Dad will come back safely, and next year the three of them will go with him. This time they're going with Mom alone to prepare in advance. Her son cares so much for his daddy. He's grown so much. Asta apologized to the Duchess for interfering at a time like this, but she still really wants to express her gratitude. Cheryl noted to the teacher that she has already spoken, but she is kind to her not because she wants something in return. It goes without saying that she had her help when she first encountered the cold of the north, and so there is no need to thank her. She expresses her gratitude with it because she is concerned about the help her father always said that if she received help from another person, it is always worth thanking them with something more. She gave her a stiletto with a purple stone in the center, as beautiful as her eyes. Perhaps her modesty wasn't up to par, but she hoped she would accept it. Cheryl didn't understand what it means that she's not up to par, and declared that she's not at all. Value is a relative concept. Tilnice is going to give her the most precious thing she has. She pulled out whether she could accept something so valuable. Miss Vertol confirmed that it is, because it's an honor and she asks her to accept the brooch. She would gratefully do so, and in return she would accept nothing beyond that. Asta thanked her. She asked her son how he thought the hairpin looked on him. Cassell said it suits his mom. I myself always say nice things to my mom. Asta was glad she liked it and was having fun today too. Gertie remarked that it looked like something nice had happened. The teacher stated that she had just returned from the duchy they introduced her to, and the kind Duchess and Lord always made her smile. Gertie laughed at the words about the kind Duchess. The Duchess Lord would be leaving for Rohanat Square in 2 days. And the conversation they had while they were planning the trip had been very warm, and she was really pleased to be introduced to the place and thanked Lady Gertie. Suddenly, someone came from behind and hit Miss Vertol on the head. Gertie said she was no longer useful and they would have to speed up their plan. She turned to a guy named Leo, and the latter replied to Alice to leave it to him. Asta thought about her head and her whole body breaking, realized that she was tied up and what had happened. You said there would be 3 or 4 guards. The Duke has gone on a military trip and taken a knight with him, so they are left with no suitable men. It turns out their trip is the right time for their plan, but he's worried about that baby's ability, that the heir has already awakened. Alice clarified that he's not worried about the ability of a 6-year-old. Does he think that a boy who is crying for his mother will be able to do anything? Leo asked Alice to calm down and to be as careful as possible for the sake of success. If she thinks about the insult that woman gave her, she's gritting her teeth. And that he said to be as careful as possible. She just needs to see that woman begging at her feet, asking her darling to listen to her carefully. They sent their man to the duchy as a teacher, and you waited for the time to peek through the earrings. If they're going to get revenge on this woman, now's the time. Asta realized that the lady had gotten information that could harm the duchy by using her. They noticed that she was awake, whereupon Alice declared that there was no need for the earrings and ripped them out of her ear. Asta asked the lady if she had been deceiving her all along, told her not to say such hurtful words after all she had introduced her to the workplace, and they just helped each other, that's all. Even thanks to her teacher, she and dear Leo will be able to exact their revenge. She asked what they were going to do with the Duchess and the Lord. Leo answered her that she won't get into the Duke's office anymore anyway, so he'll tell her. To start a new life with her lover and child and need money. They are fed up with such an ugly life and will sell the inheritance of the duchy. Sheriel was concerned that the teacher had caught a bad cold, and after that letter, she never contacted them again. Margot stated that she was going to send a doctor to the mansion as she had ordered, but she has not been in touch. How difficult it was to be in a foreign land. She was worried that she couldn't help and wished she could. She asked how her son was doing, if his fever had broken. The maid stated that the fever had subsided, and she was told that it was from the grueling training he had begun after the Duke's departure on a military campaign. Everything would have been fine in the video he'd been acting his age, but overzealous in his attempts to look mature. It's going to be hard to go today. Sheriel stated that she needed to see her son's condition, and if she could walk her. She asked her son if he was okay, and he stated that he was completely ready. He asked if they would eat today, and they agreed to go to Rohanat Square. Luckily, there was no heat, but in return, he had to promise that if he felt even a little sick, they would go home right away. He said he would obey his mom. The vendor said that this is a shield from the eastern mainland and it was brought from across the sea, just right for a gift for a lover. Everyone needs to stock up on dried fruit for the cold winter, and the girl gives it away for cheap. There are so many people here, and it's probably because there's so much to see. The guards asked Mrs. Matron to stay calm, and they would take care of their security. Sheriel thanked them for their work. She asked her son to hold on to her hand tightly and firmly. Margot asked Mr. Young if he knew this, for they say that many amazing things are sold in this square. After all, Mistress's birthday is coming up soon, and how about buying one? Mistress doesn't worry about her birthday often, simple. It is released. But doesn't he want to give her a gift? Cassel has stated that he wants to. Then she will ask for a knight and hide it from Mistress, so she won't see at that time secretly buy a gift what he thinks about it. He stated that is fine, but won't his mom worry? If 3 of them are with the lady and 1 with him, everything will be fine. Sheriel didn't realize where her son was looking. He was dragging unawares. We are curious what they are doing there. Does he want to go see with his mom? Cassel stated there he was curious. The girl looked at everything with interest and said that everything will fit her son too. It looks very nice. Maybe now was the chance Margot was talking about. He stated that she liked this hat rounded and fluffy over there. She clarified if he could wait here for a while, she would go and buy it. Cassel signaled to the guard that they were coming now. He thought about what gift might suit his mother. Perhaps a hair clip. The knight asked the young lord not to stray too far from him. Cassell noted that that thing over there was not bad. Suddenly, someone attacked the knight and told him that if he moved, he would be killed. The one who grabbed Cassell said he had finally caught him. Sheriel looked at the round, cute hat and found one. How adorable her son would be if he wore it. She turned to ask her son if he would try it on, but she noticed that he had gone somewhere, so she went to the guards and asked if they had seen him. Scary, for which the young gentleman took one of them and went to buy something. Just yesterday he was still sick, but still stubbornly asserted that he wanted to come here. It's times like this that I realize he's still a child. Then we should pretend she didn't notice and wait. If that's the case, maybe buy a few hats for him. Sheriel asked me to keep an eye on them properly because they were gifts for her son. She didn't know when her son would be back. She specified that maybe one of the holidays she would go check out the situation nearby. A guy showed up and shouted that there was trouble. He was told to be quiet so as not to be seen by people. What a racket. The Duchess didn't see her son, did she? She ordered a report to be made at once. The young gentleman was taken by the unknown, and he was about to stop him. But suddenly he was attacked by several men. Sheriel was outraged at what they were doing and would immediately call the remaining knights in the duchy. As soon as they arrive and immediately block the square and find her son. They'll make excuses later, but now we must find the child. She was running around looking for her son and calling his name. She shouldn't have let go of the child's hand and why she was so careless. The Winter Witch had said that there was no telling what fate would be if it was changed. If the payback is her son? How come they thought they'd be smiling when Kion got back here? Now it turns out she may not be able to keep her promise. She says there can be no mistake, and this is a signal sent by her son. We need to save him now. She named her son, but she was also attacked from behind. The men claimed he had finally caught on. Sheriel didn't realize what this place was, and now was not the time for that. Where was her son? Then she saw Alice, who stated to the Duchess how old, how many winters, as she chewed. Sheriel asked what this mayhem was, and let her untie her, rather. Alice didn't understand why she would do that, and it seems they haven't understood the situation yet. Cassell told her to stop and what she was doing to her mom. The Duchess asked her son to wait a little bit for his mom to save him. Alice noted that the Lord had woken up, that now their relationship with their mother was still filled with care. Sheriel claims it's all her fault, so she asks that her child be released. It's not she who's valuable, it's the heir to the duchy. The Duchess, her favorite child, is about to disappear right before her eyes, probably so painful. Sheriel stated that she would be glad if you told her it hurt her to death. The duchy knights can't come here because they're busy fighting the mercenaries and assassins she spent all the money she had left on. And she's lying on the floor like a tramp, and of course she's glad. It's a shame. Who knew revenge was so boring, and you have Miss Vertol to thank? It was that stupid teacher who got her revenge. She didn't understand how she knew their teacher. She heard that she had a cold. You can't be her. If she says so, then she is a bad person, who is the reason he is in this state now. Leo asked Alice to calm down. She asked her darling if he had dealt with the knights. He said that what they spent a lot of money on is worthwhile, and the mercenaries are fighting well. They are outnumbered, so they will not give in, and the only thing left to do is to take this baby and leave. The girl didn't understand where they were taking her son. Alice didn't understand why she had to answer to her. She hoped that she would be studying every day already because her precious child had disappeared. Leo took the baby and said they were coming. If a change of fortune has brought the current unhappiness, it means it may bring unexpected happiness. She doesn't want to lose the argument with the witch and asked for permission to save her child.